Yo, what's going on, man? Today is March the 7th, 2024. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA show. I'm live on Twitter, also live on YouTube as well. But do me a favor, hit the like button for me as you guys join. Coming off a pretty good day, man. Hopefully we can kind of keep it going. Really successful day. So before we jump into it, maybe back live at 5 today. Back feeling a little bit better. I appreciate everybody for, sending the well wishes and the get well soon messages, man. My back was really messed up. Like I said, my sacrum popped out of place. I've been stretching it a little bit, icing, heating, taking the anti-inflammatories, all that good stuff. Feeling a little bit better, man. Definitely feeling a little bit better. So the ChrisBeCappinn NBA show live at 5 p.m. Eastern time could return today. We'll see how I feel. I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, and my back it still does hurt a lot. But we'll see how I'm feeling around that time, man. So not gonna make any promises, but we'll see. Let's get into it for today. So quick recap of yesterday for the members. And yesterday, I think the plays that I talked about on the show, Orlando team total going over was a winner. I actually didn't pull the trigger on Orlando team total, but they got there like I thought that they would yesterday. So I know a couple people cashed it. I'm glad you guys did. The Bulls money line, super sweaty. If anybody had a chance to watch that game with technical fouls being given out, and the Bulls are just so bad from the 3-point line, they probably get smoked tonight against the Golden State Warriors. If Golden State is a little bit motivated in that game, already see the line going up from 6 to 7, I think, or 6.5 to 7. But the Bulls did take care of us last night. Thank God. I probably won't bet on the Bulls again. That was a little too sweaty for me. Also gave out 2 player props over in the YouTube membership section. These were easy player props. Franz Wagner cashed a little bit over right after halftime at 18.5 or 19.5, I think it was. One of the two. I think it was 18.5. And then LeBron James over 33.5 points and assists. I think he had that in just points alone. So that was 2 easy ones. And then we did pull the trigger on a live play. This is why you guys got to make sure you're in the membership, man. Golden State in Milwaukee under 247.5. One of the easier plays that I've made in quite a while. You see the fourth quarter I think the Bucks only scored like 9 points. So that game flew under the total. I stayed away from the other games, and probably glad I did. So we ended up making some money yesterday, man. Almost 3 units. Not sure why my Nets and Pistons graphic, my Nets graphic is not there, but it's probably because it's a team that I want to fade, man. And I didn't do it, but let's just jump right into it. So first game up. And I'm not going through all the games today either. I'm just going through the first couple. I made 3 bets already, and I wanted to share those with you guys. Still got some work to do on the later games, if I'm being honest. So this is what kind of spoke to me last night, though, the plays that I like. So first game up, like I said, you got the Detroit Pistons at home catching 2 points. Crazy to think that this as bad as the Detroit Pistons are, they only catching 2 points in this game. Against a Brooklyn team that's been, they've kind of owned this team as well. So first thing to take into consideration, the first thing I looked at when I saw the line was at 2. I said, well, why is this line only, it was 3. It was 2, then it went to 3, then it's back down to 2. No Cam Johnson. We know Cam Thomas has been out. Cam Johnson is now out. No Cam Johnson, no Cam Thomas, and Ben Simmons is also going to miss this game. Looking at this Brooklyn Nets team, and for Detroit, I think they'll be pretty healthy. Looking at the Brooklyn Nets, 9-1 straight up versus Detroit in their last 10 games. They are 2-0 straight up this season as well, so you get a double revenge spot for the Pistons here. Not sure what that means for the Detroit Pistons. However, I can't take Brooklyn in this spot, man. I know they just got to win the game, and they've done well on these short, point spreads when they're on the road as a favorite. Remember, they beat Memphis in this spot probably about 3 weeks ago as well. Just needing to win the game, and maybe they do. I just couldn't quite get there. The Brooklyn Nets are 9-18 straight up on the road, 10-17 against the spread, 37%, and 3-13 against the spread in their last 16 games on the road, and just 4-12 straight up. So I can't quite get there with Brooklyn. I know they just need to win the game. Can't quite get there. It's also a third game in 4 nights for them, and a fourth game in 6 nights. They played a couple back-to-backs in Barclays, over the last week. Detroit hasn't been good. 1-9 straight up. They are 5-5 against the spread in their last 10, however, though. 2-6 straight up and against the spread when they're 3-point dogs or less. I think that's something to kind of take into consideration here. You kind of need them to win the game, and I don't know if Detroit's going to be able to win this game. Can they win the game? I do think it's so. Not enough to put my money on Detroit. Like, they burned us against the Cavs, and if I would have just ran it back with them against against Miami, we would have got the money back. I had, Detroit plus plus 11.5 2 days ago when they were in Miami. They lost that game by 8. So they have been covering numbers, but like I said, this 2-6 when their favors are 3 points or less. So in these tight games, they don't always win. We know they don't always win in general. And I also looked at the under, and that's what I ended up playing. So Detroit in those games where you do get that tight point spread, 3 points or less for them, 7-1 to the under. In Brooklyn, their offense has not been great. They are 17-10 to the under. On the road in general, that's 63%, 13-5 to the under in their last 18 games on the road. And Detroit, 6-1 to the under since the All-Star break and 9-1 to the under in their last 10 games as well. So I'd be taking the points if I had to play this one, proverbial gun to the head. I'd be taking the points with Detroit, thinking that they could get a win. Know that they'll be motivated in the spot. And I think Brooklyn just really struggles to score. You also got Dayon Sharp, who's listed as questionable in this game as well. So Brooklyn, limping. They're limping into Detroit. And like I said, not the most favorable spot, third game in 4 nights and a fourth game in 6. So lean Detroit, but I did take the under. Gator side at 216.5 last night is what I locked it in at. 216.5, and it's down to 215.5. This does feel like first team to 100 could win this game. Real quick, I wanted to look at something else. I just wanted to kind of share something with you guys. Let's see. So looking at let's see if I can find it. Playing against. Okay. So what I wanted to share real quick was that offensively, these teams have been god awful. Brooklyn 25th, and these are the four factors. Brooklyn 25th in points scored per 100 possessions. Effective field goal percentage, they're 22nd. Turnover percentage, they're 22nd. Offensive rebounding rate, 15th. And free throw rate, not shooting a lot of free throws, they're ranked 26th. Detroit, same thing. Offensive rating, 24. So they're just a tad bit worse than the Brooklyn Nets. A tad bit better than the Brooklyn Nets. 19th in effective field goal percentage, 20th in turnover percentage, 25th in offensive rebound percentage, and they are shooting a bunch of free throws, 7th in free throw rate. This is since the All-Star break. So neither one of these offenses really clicking at all. I think it's going to be a shootout. Not a shootout, but a slugfest type of game. So give me the under in this spot. I still feel comfortable at the 215.5. Shop around, see if you guys can find some 216s, but that would be my best play in this game, and I would lean towards Detroit. All right, next game up, and I got to speed up. Timberwolves also image not there. And it's crazy because all the teams I want to fade, the images don't work for. But you got the Minnesota Timberwolves. They'll be on the road. They actually opened as short 1-point favorites in this game yesterday. I think it was 1 or 2-point favorites, and then of course the news come out that Karl Anthony Towns is going to be out in this game. I think it's some knee soreness or inflammation or something. And you get a Pacers team at the crib, man. They've done well in this spot. Both teams have done well in this spot. Minnesota, we think about them as a home team, but they are 20-11 straight up on the road. Indiana 20-12 straight up at home. Timberwolves have been slightly profitable on the road, 16-15 against the number. And the Pacers have done well at home. This is their role, 17-13-2 against the spread at home. So real quick, let me get to all right. So I kind of I want to take the Pacers in this spot. I really, really do. I think they turn up without Karl. I think the Towns being in the game. I'll say that first and foremost. But I looked at a few different things. So like I said, Minnesota without Cat. Just Minnesota in general, just recent form. This team is 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 games. Their offense is just really, really sputtered. They really, really struggled to score the basketball. I want to look at that real quick. Let's just look at those recent numbers. So some of it's been their offense. They're the 19th rated offensive team over the last since the All-Star break. 18th in effective field goal percentage, turning the ball over a little bit more, 18th in turnover percentage, not getting a bunch of offensive rebounds, and I think that's what's going to hurt them. Indiana has been the better rebounder teams, and I'll get into that in a second. They are shooting a bunch of free throws at the third best rate, but Indiana has been the better team, and they're in better form right now. They're 6th in points scored per 100 possessions post All-Star break, 13th in effective field goal percentage, 2nd in turnover percentage, so not turning the ball over a lot. And they're much better rebounding the basketball. 11th in offensive rebounding rate, since the All-Star break. And they're not fouling a lot either. So, and I also like that Indiana doesn't play again until Sunday, where you got Minnesota first leg of a back-to-back. They actually got the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow. Pacers also lost the first game when these two teams matched up earlier this year. They won the second leg of a back-to-back and didn't have Tyrese Halliburton in that game. And the Indiana Pacers are 6-2 straight up in revenge spots this season. They're also 5-2 straight up when they're playing against a team with a 60% win percentage or better, and they're at home. We know that they turned up for the Boston Celtics earlier this season. They turned multiple times. They turned up against the Milwaukee Bucks as well. The Indiana Pacers are 2-0 straight up without Karl-Anthony Towns, though. They beat Sacramento and they beat San Antonio. Both of those games went under. And Minnesota's defensive rating is actually a lot better without Karl-Anthony Towns on the floor. I'm not sure if y'all watch it or not, but Karl-Anthony Towns he's not the greatest defender. He just makes so many mental errors. That's the nicest way to say it. On the defensive end, their defensive rating without Karl-Anthony Towns is a 105.3 without Cat on the floor. That's actually rated in the 98th percentile per cleaning the glass. So I think it'll be a defensive game, and that's why I jumped on the under. Indiana, real quick before I jump off the side and talk about the total. Indiana is 2-1 straight up in home games with a total that's below 235. And they've actually, like I said, they've been a better rebounding team, better offensive team. And they're not turning the ball over as much. So I do like Indiana. Want to take them on the money line here. Haven't quite made the decision. I felt like this line wasn't going to move too much, and it hasn't. You still can get the money line at a very, very reasonable number. I think I see a minus 115, minus 120 out there. And I'm not saying the Timberwolves can't win the game. I just think it's a Pacers spot. I do think it's a Pacers spot, and I do agree with the line flipping to them being the favorites now. Minnesota gonna play tough, but I think the Pacers got a little too much offense, and I think Indiana can play defense when they need to as well. So lean Indiana on the money line. I did play the under 229.5. This number's down to 228. I do think that the Timberwolves, like I said, defensive rating without Karl-Anthony Towns 105.3. I think that they have to bring it on the defensive end. If not, they get mollywopped in this game because they don't have enough offense, in my opinion, to be able to keep up with this Pacers team. And granted, the Pacers give up a bunch of points in the paint. Anthony Edwards should be able to get whatever it is that he wants. But he's looked a little disengaged. We know he just had his baby last week. I think it was in the last Friday, last Friday against the Sacramento Kings when he cost us two bets. But he's looked a little disengaged, man. And I'm not saying that he can't go out here and score, but I don't think that the Timberwolves have enough offense to be able to keep up with this Pacers team. And granted, I say defense wins, but in this game, I feel like the Pacers are the right side. I do want to take the Pacers. Haven't gotten there yet, but I think it's a Pacers spot. Like I said, I would play them on the money line. Officially did play the under at 229.5 though. So that's the look there. This is my favorite side of the day. And it's super chalky, probably super square, but I'm cool with it. Looking at the Miami Heat, they will be in Dallas tonight, taking on this Dallas Mavericks team. We know that these teams have beef that go back to when Bron and Wade was playing against Dirk Nowitzki and Jason Terry. So you get there's that element where these two teams just don't like each other. I actually thought this line would move a little bit more than it did, and it really hasn't moved a lot. I jumped on the Heat last night at +5. The only way I would be looking to play this game, no way I'm looking to take the Dallas Mavericks is just really just a fade of their defense. Dallas has been really, really bad defensively, and you look at this Miami Heat team, they've been one of the better, if not the best defensive team since the All-Star break. And I think you just kind of buy on that spot right there. I'm looking at Dallas, looking at Miami, 10th in offensive point score per 100 possessions. Dallas is great offensively. They're number 3. But effective field goal percentage, actually, Miami's right behind them, 9th. Turnover percentage, Miami's doing a great job of taking care of the ball. So is Dallas. Offensive rebounding rate, neither one of the teams offensive rebounding the ball too well. And Miami, number 1 team at getting to the free throw line. Dallas has not been able to defend anybody, right? So I gave this out last night, and what I said in the write-up was that I do think that the Miami Heat will be a public dog, but I don't think Dallas should be laying 5, in my opinion. I think that Miami should be able to keep this one close. Dallas, 14-19 against the spread at home, 41.42%. They're also just 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 games as home favorites. Miami's 10-3 straight up and against the spread in their last 13 games. They're +8 in point differential. So they're winning games by average of 8 points. They're also 13-7 against the number, 65% as road dogs this season, which is actually the 3rd best cover rate in the league. The Mavericks have actually failed to cover their last 3, and they're the worst defensive rated team in that span. So this one to me seemed a little too easy, but I would only be taking the Dallas Maverick. I'm sorry, the Miami Heat in the spot. I did take them plus the 5 last night. And now it's down to 4.5. Like I said, I thought it would come down to 4, maybe even 3.5. Injury wise, I don't think anybody's on the report for the Dallas Mavericks, and of course for the Miami Heat. They still will be without Kevin Love. Yeah, Kevin Love and Josh Richardson out for the season. He just has season shoulder in surgery, and Tyler Hero is also going to be out. So I expect Miami Heat to be Miami Heat, man. Kind of muck the game up, make it difficult for Kyrie and Luka. And I do like them plus the points in this spot. Like I said, super chalky play because you got one team that's 8-2 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games, and you got the other team that's just 5-5 straight up against the spread in their last 5 games. And even worse than that, Dallas Mavericks also just 1-5 straight up in their last 6 games. So it's super chalky, but I did take the Heat in this spot. Laid the points with them. Took the points with them. And those are the – well, one more game. I did want to talk about this game just briefly before I get off of here. A couple games I didn't quite touch on. I'll give you guys some thoughts, but this Raptors and Suns game is pretty easy to me. You got the Raptors on the road now. I said it the other day. We cashed in a team total to go under. I'm not sure if it goes under again or not. I do think that Phoenix can really lock in this spot, but I'm not sure how much I trust them. Laying. I'm just not sure how motivated they are. Put it like that. I watched this team go in Denver the other day and give Denver a loss, even after stinking it up in the fourth quarter. And they outscored the Denver Nuggets by 10 points, I want to say, in overtime without, Devin Booker. I'm just not sure if they're locked in like that. Now, Grayson Allen could absolutely hit eight more threes. We just saw, if you guys watched that game, Trey Murphy just hit 10 threes, I think, against this team. This Toronto Raptors team is terrible. The only way I'm looking to play this game is Phoenix team total over. I know that they've been an under team. I think there's something like 8-2 to the under in their last 10 games, but that's the only way I'll be looking to play this one. Probably stay away from the spread with it being so high. I can see the Raptors getting smoked in this game. They still will be without Jakob Poeltl, of course. Scotty Barnes probably won't return for this season. I'm not sure if he's been officially ruled out, but I don't think that he's going to return for this season. And Bruce Brown's also out. So same injury report for Toronto. This team is really, really bad defensively. Like I said, the Pelicans just went into Toronto and scored 150. Was it 150 points, 146, something like that? They let up off the gas in that one. They could have easily scored more. Toronto, they scored 139. 139, lost that game by 41 points. So, yeah, I think Phoenix team total over. Number should be about 120.5 will be my best look in this game. That's something I'm considering but haven't gotten to the window with yet. And then let's see. I think that's it. So top looks on the board. This is what I played so far. Miami plus the 5, Brooklyn, Detroit under the 216.5, and Minnesota, Indiana under the 229 as well. That number's dropping. It's actually down to 227 now. So hopefully the CLV works. We got CLV on all 3 plays, but we know that doesn't mean nothing all the time. Didn't talk about Boston and Denver because I want to dive a little bit deeper into it. Saw that Denver opened as a favorite. Looks like Boston shifting to a favorite. Got to wait on the status of Jaylen Brown. Here's listed this question, but I do expect them to play in this spot. Boston should be motivated. Denver should be motivated. It's crazy that both of those teams were undefeated coming out the All-Star break, and then one of them's going on a 2-game losing streak. Boston, just got smoked in that last game, and both teams may have been looking ahead. Boston got smoked in the second half specifically. Shout out to Dean Wade. And Denver, of course, losing to Phoenix as well. So both of those teams kind of looking at, could have been looking ahead. Chicago and Golden State, not a game that I'm super interested in betting. You see the total go up. Chicago really struggles against the 3-point ball. Not sure how motivated Golden State's going to be in a non-conference game after beating the Bucks by 30 last night. And then San Antonio and Sacramento, that line moved from 8.5 to 10 at the snap of a finger when Victor Wembanyama got ruled out yesterday. I don't think that he got ruled out yesterday. So even with the Kings, you smoked my Lakers last night. Glad I stayed off of that game. I actually wanted Sacramento, but Sacramento, they just played San Antonio. They probably you hear De'Aaron Fox talk about how much that game means in the post-game interview last night against the Lakers. So I don't I mean, we are, that's what you do, right? You fade them as a home team. And I'm not saying you necessarily. That's why I'm staying away from the game and didn't break it down, because I don't want to lay 11 points with Sacramento on the second leg of a back-to-back in a I think a much less meaningful game where they could win by 8, 9, 10 points. But also San Antonio without Victor Wembanyama is terrible. I gave you guys the numbers the other day against the Houston Rockets, just in case he was ruled out. They're minus 12 without him on the floor. They could get smoked today. They could absolutely get smoked. I know they've been playing a much better basketball. Lawson didn't cover against the Houston Rockets. I think the under might be in play just because I do think San Antonio could struggle to score in this spot without Victor Wembanyama on the floor. But we'll see how it goes. Those are the top looks for myself, man. I'll catch the comments offline. 378 people watching live. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. As always, here's some resources that I use to kind of handicap the games. And do me a favor on your way out, man. Hit the like button for me if you can. Share the show. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Bet responsibly. Enjoy the games, everyone. Also, I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. I'm out.